Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Untitled Game Podcast. This week we are talking everything Starfield. Maybe slight spoilers, warning in advance. So keep an eye out for any of those. We will obviously label them as such. But as always, I am joined by this wonderful crew of people. Today I have the wonderful It's Shaky Jake. How you doing,
Evening,
buddy?
everyone. How you doing? I'm all good. I'm all right. Glad
Good.
to be here.
How are you feeling about your Starfield playthrough so far? No spoilers or anything, but
I am thoroughly enjoying my Starfield time and quite addicted to it. I've actually
awesome.
taken a break from it to play something else today, but
We're not talking
yeah,
about that.
we ain't gonna talk about
And yeah, and then following on, we've got, as always, the wonderful It's Jimbo. Jimbo, how you doing,
Howdy,
buddy?
howdy. Howdy, howdy.
Howdy, howdy, indeed. And then final one, as always, last but not least, is the wonderful Pridey Maddie. How you doing, Matt?
Very well. Very well. Why am I always last? Is it usually last?
But not
Just
least
saving
is-
the best till last then.
Yeah, and then obviously, no, the last is me. Hello, I'm Paul Despawn. I am your host for this shit show of a podcast. Hi. But today we are going to be talking, as I say, we are going to be talking all things Starfield.
Yes.
I'm assuming we've all been putting many hours into it, and we are going to be talking about all our thoughts and feelings. I'm going to label this as a bit of a spoiler cast because there will be some spoilers for stories and stuff like that. I'm going to try not to spoil it for anyone who's at a certain point in the game. Question, actually, before we start. Has everyone finished the main story?
No.
No.
Okay. So it's just me.
I'm
Right.
about 4 missions out, I think.
Okay.
Well, done well.
We'll talk about that. But yeah, so I will try and stay away from spoilers, but I will give you my thoughts on the story and how it works. And obviously, for those that don't know, there is a New Game Plus. So we'll be talking about that. But a little bit of housekeeping. Obviously, as always, if you've got any questions for the guys here on the podcast, make sure to leave them in the comments. And yeah, check us out on all of the socials, which you should be seeing right below their faces right now. There you go. Cool. All right, let's jump into it. First things first. Did everybody enjoy their time with Starfield so far?
Starfield. I enjoyed my time with Starfield.
Starfield.
I did enjoy my time with Starfield. Definitely.
Yes,
like
no,
a
we
shot.
enjoyed our time with Starfield. Starfield is really, really good.
I hate you guys. I hate you guys so much.
I mean, the best way to
What's hard?
describe it is that it's what been the 6th is when it came out.
Mhm.
So it's
First
what
for
been
early access.
Yep.
no, yeah, the first. That was it, the first. So it's been it's been nearly 3 weeks. If we take like Thursday this week or whenever this is coming out, like it'll be 3 days or 4 days on from this when we're recording. And I've played every single day, so it's been very, very enjoyable. I've definitely enjoyed. I'd say at least 80% of my time. There's other things that we can discuss.
Which we will discuss, yeah. There are some negatives that I want to talk about. There are a lot of positives as well. But yeah, obviously. Matty, what about yourself? Like, I know that you got a bit of a delayed start on the game, and obviously, for those that don't know, we were at the same place this weekend, so we didn't get some time to play there either. But how about yourself? Like, for your time that you spent with the game, how are you feeling about it so far?
Just been enjoying getting lost in space, to be honest. Exploring, getting sidetracked, going off on my own little missions, having a go at base building and shipbuilding, and just trying all of those little bits and bobs out. So yeah, looking forward to actually getting more involved with the story because I've avoided it so far and kind of done my own thing.
Fair. And again, yeah, what about yourself, Jake?
I've been playing it when I can when I'm not at work, and I've been doing heavy sessions, so I'll be getting up early and just plowing for most of the day, and then realizing it's 10 hours is gone. I'm like, all right, fine, let's get on with some adulting now. But no, it's been really fun. I've done a good amount of story. I've done one of the faction missions, which is like the first faction I want to get on with, so I've done that, and I've got some nice rewards, and that was quite a fun experience to do. The missions are quite fun, and the end mission was like that was a moment I was like, oh, so I had to deal with that thing, and that was quite cool. Yeah, and I'm working on the factions as well. I say I'm probably a few missions off from finishing the main story, but I want to savor that for now and just muck around with the other bits and bobs first.
Yeah.
And I'm loving my ships. I've got about 4 ships right now.
Rookie numbers.
Yeah, well,
Mm.
I kind of blow them up. I don't board them often, and I tried to. And I was like, oh, I accidentally blew them up. What a shame. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
But I got a
Oh
massive,
no!
massive
Oh,
cargo
shame.
ship now, so I'm like really happy with that, and it's
Nice.
hunking huge.
Have
So,
you?
yeah.
Has anyone here done the
The Mantis.
ludicrous workaround for ship combat? So the way that the ship combat works in the game is the enemies aim for center mass.
Oh, I heard
Mhm.
about this.
So people have been
Ah,
building
yes.
like imagine a gazebo or like
Oh, yeah.
a hut with nothing, so it just fires straight through.
Yeah.
Or you could make like a ship on the side and then just have like part of a wing that goes across, and they'll aim for that rather than
Right.
the actual ship itself.
Maybe
So
some-
I think I just it's quite funny that like people have found a way around that. But yeah, on the whole, yeah, I enjoy the
So,
space combat for it.
So cheating, then, you mean?
Yeah.
Within the bounds of the game. Within the bounds of the game.
Yeah.
cheating.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Cheating.
Bethesda game.
Manipulating a glitch.
Yeah, taking advantage of the Bethesda jank is what we're calling it.
Yes.
But yeah, like so just to let you know, so I want to go around actually. I'm gonna go click around and I'll tell you how, because I think from what I understand, I'm probably ahead of everyone playtime wise and probably storyline wise. So we're gonna start off. Matty, how many hours have you put in?
Not enough. Certainly
give
not
me a
as
number.
many as you guys.
Give me a number.
I'm
gonna need it. Rough
think
number.
18 hours. 18
Okay.
hours.
Okay.
That's still decent though.
That's
To be
still good.
honest.
Yeah, still
Yeah.
a good amount of hours. Jimbo,
But
what about yourself?
it's not good enough. It's not good
Yeah,
enough.
it's not,
Yeah,
it's not good enough. No.
Have to take some time off work. But yeah, Jimbo, what
Mm.
about yourself? How many hours are you in right now?
90.6 hours. So
Okay.
whatever that rounds out to on Steam. So just 90 hours, I'd say, is the rough, and then like 90 and a half or whatever you could say. But yeah,
Okay.
that's me.
Fair enough. And Jay, what about yourself?
I'm gonna go totally different format and say 2 days, 9 hours, 54 minutes.
I'm
That
not doing the
is-
maths.
Well, it's 48 minimum.
Mhm.
So because it's 2 days.
50 hours.
So
It's roughly 50 hours.
yeah. So about roughly that. Over 55. So
Yeah.
yeah. Man.
And I'm going to go with the same format as Jake. I have got 3 days, 7 hours, and 52 minutes. So about 50 hours in, I want to say.
No, a little bit
No.
more than
No,
that.
it'd be more than
20,
that.
6, 70, 70.
72 hours.
72
hours
hours
minimum.
That's about
And then
right.
a bit more.
Yeah. So about that.
So I'm slacking here.
Yeah, basically, yeah. You're letting the side down. What you're doing? Come on, sort it out. But yeah, so I think we've all put in a fair amount of hours, except for Matty, who I don't know why he turned up. Imagine having a life. I don't know.
Responsibilities, right? Yeah.
Gay.
You
Well,
need those.
Exactly.
Fake gamer. Fake gamer. But yeah, so obviously we've all been putting in various hours across the board. I have, like I say right at the beginning, I have finished the story. So I've hit New Game Plus. For those that didn't know, there is a New Game Plus. And again, I'm not going to talk about its specifics, but the way that they do it, and it actually links directly into the story, it's not just a standard New Game Plus, is very clever. So if you do know the New Game Plus mechanic, you're in for a treat, and it is very good.
I've read up on it,
Mhm.
like because there was the big, at least for the first few days of it being out, people were like, "Do you rush the story to get into the New Game Plus? Do you what does New Game Plus entail?"
Mhm.
So I read up on it a little bit, not what the story ending of the game was, but just what it meant to go into New Game Plus. So yeah, I was pretty briefed up on that. So,
yeah, I
but
was
yeah.
very impressed with how they've handled it. Because the way that previous Bethesda titles have always handled their games, it's very much a kind of you put as many hours as you want into the story and then complete it, and then that's the game done. This feels like it's got the chance to actually have some genuine long life in the game. I did a lot of the side quest stuff as well. But yeah, there's definitely some stuff that I completely missed. There's some stuff that I'm restarting now and doing it all completely different way. And yeah, I'm very excited to see where New Game Plus leads. But I guess before we jump into all the the nitty gritty and the specifics, I just kind of want to get everyone's where their opinion of the game is deep dive right now. So I'm going to go in a different order, and I'm going to say Jake now. What is your like right now? Obviously, you say you've done about you said 50, like 40, 50 hours.
Yeah.
So I'd say like where are you sitting right now in like what is your opinion of the game going like into like we're coming quite close to the game of the year conversations and things like
We
that.
are.
Do you think is this the game that you wanted? Like what are your thoughts right now about Starfield?
Okay, my thoughts on Starfield right now is one, it's going to be a game of the year contender. I think we're all
Mhm.
going to agree on that anyway. Being a Bethesda game and having played the previous ones, it's probably one of the best they've done. I say smoothest wise. I've barely come across many glitches. I've come across some. Some have been quite annoying, and it's been a simple fix of just reloading a save in, and it's done and dusted.
Yeah, yeah.
It's usually when autosaves happen and you get into a new area, that's when it tends to be a problem. So there's one mission where I had to go and arrest someone, and as I left to go up to the top on an elevator, it wouldn't let me out. But that's because I hadn't apparently let the conversation carry out because I just ran off. It's like,
Right. Okay.
okay,
Nick,
so
bye.
I had to stay here and actually listen to the entire like conversation between the cop and the suspect before
Yeah,
I
yeah.
could leave. You know,
Right.
otherwise
Okay.
just go,
Yeah. Yeah.
that'd be fine. But it's a really fun game. I am going to be playing it for a very long time. Like I say, I'm investing time into just exploring as well. Like I am doing the side quests, the factions, and probably putting a hold on the story for now to get a bit more done. Um, and shipbuilding, I'm experimenting with that when I can. Like I've been modding around with the ships I got right now. But overall, I think the game is probably one of the best they've done. Definitely a game of the year contender. Would highly recommend it to anyone, especially if being on Game Pass. People can just pick up and try it. I know members of my community have either finished it 10 times. I think one of them has actually finished it 10 times already.
Yeah.
And another
Wow.
started it, got bored, fed up, and uninstalled it. So it's it's
There is a
Yeah.
gamut, yeah.
definitely a mix of people who like that sort of game and others who don't. So
Mhm.
I think it can cater to most people's experiences for like being a first Bethesda game because some people haven't would have played the previous one and they might have jumped into this instead. And I've seen a lot of talk about how they complain about the area is not loading instantaneously and stuff like that. Have you ever played a Bethesda game? Do you know about the whole like loading points of going through a door and stuff like that? So it's just
Yeah.
I know it probably be brought up in negatives later on, maybe
Yeah.
because of we're talking about new gen consoles should have all the power to do all this magical gubbins,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
another games can do it smoothly. Mainly, we know about another space game, but we ain't getting into that. Yeah, I really like the game. I
Mhm.
don't really have much to gripe about it. There are some things which we can go into. Like if you want me to talk about negatives now, I can do. But
We'll say this for a bit because again, I think that there are definitely like some negatives about this game
yeah,
that
some areas will work
we
on.
we can
But
definitely have an entire section about. So I think yeah, keep it for those. But yeah, like you've said there, like definitely game of the year contender with some glaring issues that hopefully will be fixed. But before we get to that, obviously, Jimbo, what about yourself? Like, what is your like? You say I think you now like we confirmed you've got the most playtime out of anyone.
Oh, I
Um,
think so. Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
So like, where are
I
you at?
can just I can describe the game in a little bit more detail, but I can describe the game in one sentence, which is
Mhm.
3 words: fantastic but flawed. So there's at least 80% of the game. There's a lot of really great systems and things that I really enjoy about the game. There's about 10% of some systems that need a little bit of work. They're sometimes a little bit buggy. And then there's some systems that just are really poorly designed, like in my opinion. And that's how it like adds up to it's like the I can't give it like people like you want to give them a number because giving a 10 out of 10 is just kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
like a lot of it's subjective of how you see number scores and such. But if I had to describe it in the best way, it's fantastic but flawed because of all the issues. And it's like the sometimes it's a small amount of things that add up to make a problem, and that like is something that is a little bit of an issue. But besides that area, because it's easy to talk about that, it's easy to talk about just what you don't like about the game. Like I think having played Skyrim, having played Fallout 3 and Fallout 4, I never beat Skyrim's main story, but I beat Fallout 3 and Fallout 4's main story, and like played a bunch of the game. I would say this is Bethesda's best game to date. That's what I will put my foot down and say, like, I'll put my money where my mouth is, or whatever's a cool saying you want to go and put out there. But I'd say, yeah, Bethesda's best game to date out of all of the ones that they've got in their back catalogue. But yeah, I'll hand it over to someone else because I could talk for ages about the little intricacies of things.
Yeah, and we will. But yeah, Matty, then I guess is your opinion. Where are you at? Like, because again, we're talking playtime. Like, you are the least. And from before obviously you give your opinion, I think from the conversations that I've already had with people, it's generally those early hours where the people kind of drop off the most, because those are where those issues kind of pop up. How are you finding these early hours at the moment?
Straight away I was hooked
Okay.
and drawn straight into the universe. I wanted to stay in there. And I think the things that stopped me jumping back into it straight away were probably some, like Jakey said, like some of the loading times, which in the grand scheme of things, there aren't that many. But this game is a game that I think if you like how doors open in space, there are a lot of doors that open in space in this
There
game.
are a lot of doors.
And I've seen quite a few people talk about that, and then it got me thinking, like, yeah, you're right. There are a lot of space doors, and they open this way and that way and all sorts of ways. Yeah, it's been great to get like really involved and completely like immersed in the world before getting lost in the storyline. So I've been off exploring some of the side quests and some of the other things that you can do, not just sticking to the storyline.
No, that makes sense. Yeah. I think I'm the same with when I was like the first half of my playthrough was very much. I guess I'll jump in and give my opinion. So again, I agree with what you people have been saying about some of the negatives. Like the way that I put it is that Bethesda jank. Like, they haven't improved that jank in the last 10 years since Skyrim dropped. All of the elements and like the systems from Skyrim are still here in another Bethesda game, but it's the way that they've managed to create a world and I guess the quest lines and the universe that they've built is so much fun to live in and run around in, and the characters that you speak to, and some of the way that the quest system works, in so much as like the smallest activity can lead into like a 45 minute to an hour long quest line out of nowhere, is beautiful.
Heavily agree with that. Heavily agree with that.
And I think it's you've got to be in a mindset to get past that jank that is definitely there. And again, like I say, we've kind of touched on it a little bit. There are definitely some glaring issues, which sadly the community have fixed through modding before the developers have. But like, yeah, that's the way it usually is with a Bethesda game. But it does give me hope for the future, in that Bethesda will bring these kind of fixes to the core game quite quickly. So hopefully we see those soon. But yeah, from what I've seen and what I've played, and like finishing the story and seeing how that story loop is going to keep going, and like you said earlier, that you've seen people that Jakey that have done it like 10 times now. Like, I could see myself doing that genuinely. Like, the way that
I think the highest I've seen is like 17. I think, which is nuts.
Damn.
It is, but the way that like there are so many different stories in the game, that there are so many different permutations of like how that's going to play out. And I've got some ideas. Like I say, I'm only just starting my second playthrough in my first New Game Plus, and I've got ideas about what's going to happen in the future. And if they come true, that's going to like open up the scope of like how this game actually plays across multiple playthroughs. I'm very excited to see where this game goes in the months and years ahead. They've already announced like tons of support for like DLSS, field of view sliders, changing the way that food works in the game. So they are definitely, the eat button. They are definitely like on the right path to like keep improving this game. And from what we know of Bethesda and what they've done in the past, they will. And supporting it with DLC, we already know we're getting another DLC expansion, at least one. And I can imagine we're going to get multiple. And yeah, there's so many systems in this game that I have not even barely touched yet. Like, I've not even touched outposts yet. I've barely bothered with shipbuilding. I've generally just upgraded a couple of extra weapons on the ships that I get. But yeah, so there are so many different things in this game that I can do. And I know there's entire quest lines that I've completely missed that I've not even touched on yet. So yeah, I'm very excited. And it's those bits that make me think this is going to be a game of the year because there are so many different elements that make me excited to jump back into the game.
Yeah.
That I think is what's going to
Mm.
make this a game of the year for me. But we do have to talk about the elephant in the room, and it is that Bethesda jank.
Yeah.
What if
From
okay, so to kind of take it in a different direction than to kind of put in, if I was to ask each one of you, what is the one like the biggest biggest bugbear that you have with the game currently? Like for example, me, I suppose this is just maybe it's an accessibility thing, or maybe it's something I don't know how to best describe it, but there's a lot of things in the game that should be labeled a certain way or should be shown to the player a certain way that
Okay.
just like they're not very either not noticeable or they're not like you need to be hand-holded or like it needs to be you need to be walked through it. For example, you have to run up to the outpost to actually delete it. You can't just delete it from a distance. You actually and it actually doesn't show you here's a big delete. No, it's in tiny text under the actual accessing of the outpost.
Right.
And it's stuff like that. For example, I know they teach you a little bit at the start of the game how to dock onto a ship, but I spent 20 minutes trying to figure out how to do that before eventually it was like, because if you don't go and do the main story and you don't go through those specific aspects, you don't know how to dock on a ship for however many hours. And it's just, there's a lot of stuff that's shown, but like they haven't like really explained it or shown it to you in the best way that they can do. So if to reiterate the question will be, what's the one bugbear that you have, like the one thing that stands out the most? And I'll throw that to Matty and see if Matty if you found any at this present moment.
Sorry, I'm just trying to sort out some light levels in here. As you can see,
fine.
things are going on in the background. My editing team are working hard behind me. Anyway, yeah. User interface. You know, menus. Oh, the light's gone.
It's all good. I still see you.
I'll start again. Yeah, user interface. So menus, navigating menus, how you get to planets and things. I know, obviously, like I said, you know, loading times are obviously one of those stumbling blocks for me in the first place. But you know, the grand scheme of things, they're what you have as part of a Bethesda game, right? So that's okay. I can forgive that. But I think trying to get to your inventory or trying to find your missions or because you got to go to find your missions, it's easier to go through the planet database, and then navigating and finding different planets, there's lots of different ways of doing that as well. You can't just zoom out and see the whole thing. It sort of zooms out but centered on that one place that you're already looking at. It's just difficult to get around. It's not quick. It doesn't seem very intuitive.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I would also very heavily agree with that statement as well.
Yeah.
What about you, Jake?
I'm going to say, yeah,
Oh,
Jake. If you,
Paul,
yeah, no, I was
before
going to say,
you
Jake,
go?
if you would have said this, because mine's going to be a one-word answer.
Okay. Yeah, so obviously Matt's just touched on the UI because it is very messy. I know at some parts you can navigate space by, if you're in a system and there's a planet nearby, you just hit the A button, you can scroll through and hold X to travel to that, and you just get a nice little cutscene of blasting through space instead. But I found that with the UI is a pain in the ass, but then it's one of the game mechanics. The game's economy system is a bit of an annoying one for me. Now, I thought I could nick a ship and sell it to make money, right?
Yeah.
I nicked a Crimson Fleet Haunt, which I thought, this looks like it could be worth something, so I'll nick it and take it back to the dock. And looking at the ship, considering how much ours cost to make, what were like 30 or 40 odd thousand credits, I sold it for 9.
Yeah.
It's like,
Plus, you have to register it as well.
Yeah, we're saying you kind of have to pay for that, and it's like, why do I have to register a ship to sell it? If I want to sell a ship and like just scrap the damn thing, could I have it so I just fly it to the spaceport and go, here, cash it in? do what you want.
Or
Like,
even have like a quote unquote chop shop,
Mm.
like a random like
a
spaceport
shop
that's
shop
like,
planet
oh hey,
run by
here's
spaces.
the ship that you can have and completely free. Just give me the money for
Yeah.
it. Like yeah,
That should
no questions asked. That type of thing.
that would be a perfect like side quest line of just being
Yeah.
like,
Oh yeah, 100%.
yeah, there's space scrappers who just like will buy your stolen ships for cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe it is like you only get 9k for it, but because you could just keep going out and stealing ships,
Doesn't
9k soon quickly builds up, and if you get bigger and
Yep.
better ships, you get your B's and your C classes, then yeah,
And
maybe
then
you
they
could do
can put
missions for
like a
that.
mission board,
Mhm.
like on the mission board, and you'd be like, go and look for this ship, and
Yep.
it means you may have to go after a UC ship, or you may have to go after a 3-star ship, and you're like, ooh, like
Mhm.
what's the consequences with that? You know what I
They could
mean?
call it
Like,
like gone in 60 light years or something. That's a quest line, because obviously like gone in 60
Yeah.
seconds. But it's just that is something I found a bit annoying, and travel as well, being on foot a lot. Like
Mhm.
unless you've actually discovered a place, you can't fast travel to it. I'm glad you can fast travel back to your ship, but other ways of transportation
Mm.
would be nice. Like if you could just have like a little buggy or something, or
A
like a
mech.
vehicle sort of.
yeah, like a Met or like a rover,
Well,
like
mounts,
as
Yeah.
because
a
we've got mounts in Skyrim. Like just
Mhm.
something you could use, like if you adopt an alien or whatever to use as a pet, and it's just ride that. But because jet boosting, if the planet's got low gravity, I'm not so fussed because I can cover the ground
Bounce
pretty quick
everywhere.
by tapping.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can jump off an edge, just tap the boost pack, and because the one I got makes me go pretty high.
Yeah.
I'll just use that. But if you're on foot a lot, and sometimes it's freaking long distances to just walk between places.
Yeah.
And I know it's not just a gripe I've had. I've seen people talk about it as well, and maybe it's just like a little modification they can have, just having this little rover come out, or you just drop it. I don't know, but
Yeah. I mean, that I kind of want to play devil's advocate and say that bit, like the whole having to walk everywhere, you kind of only really have to do that if you are wanting to go around surveying and exploring the
doing
planets.
because I'm looking for like elements and stuff to get done. Because survey gets you a lot of money. If you
Yeah,
survey
yeah,
a planet,
it
Mm.
does.
you can
Yeah,
pay
yeah.
a few thousand for that.
But the surveying just seems to take forever
Forever. Yeah,
sometimes.
it does.
It does.
So having the ability to scoot about on something would make it a lot easier.
I'm gonna make surveying easier for you. When you go to planets, look for structures. Every now and
Mm.
again, it will produce a structure that has the survey data in a tower for
Oh.
you.
Okay.
So
oh okay.
So
See,
go
I'd-
looking for towers, and they'll just have the survey data on a computer screen
Thank
for you.
thank you.
Oh,
Okay,
can
I'll
go
do
use
that. I'll have a look at that.
You can go do
the
it manually.
abandoned towers.
Yes, I
They're not
did
always
it
abandoned. They're
manually.
usually like spacers and stuff, spacer towers, like outposts and things like that. Every now and again, one of them will have. I'll find a photo and put it in the Discord. But there is a
Okay.
specific looking tower that you have to go looking for. It is not always like it is RNG. So like every now and
Wasted
again.
so much time.
I know the feeling. I spent like 2.5 hours
Just
surveying
surveying
a planet
everything.
and just doing other stuff as well
Yeah.
while I was on the planet, which is kind of cool at the same time.
Yeah.
But still, yeah, especially when you're looking for that one plant or that one
Oh yeah.
creature
mineral.
that is really
Yeah.
small, and you're like, "Where are you?"
Mhm.
I would be done by now, and yeah.
Yeah.
But what were you
Yeah.
gonna say, Paul?
My one
what's
word
your-
answer is encumbrance.
Oh yeah.
I have
Oh.
spent
yeah.
90% of my time in the menus seeing what specific weapon I can drop on the floor because I don't need it. Seeing how many of my med packs I can get away with not having on me anymore because I am like 4 over the encumbrance and I have to spend my entire time just walking slowly across planets. And yeah, just I know there are mods to fix it and I know you can improve it.
Can I make it easier for you?
You can 100% go for it.
So I've tried this out as well. I saw a video like looking into this in a bit more detail. So if you are over encumbered,
Mhm.
you can still run at
Oh, yeah,
full
yeah.
speed, but eventually your CO2 builds up and then you lose health. But you
Mhm.
will only lose health until there's about 15% left, and
Yeah,
then
there's
you
about
will
that much
stop losing
bar
health.
left.
But
Yeah.
it
So
also
if
stops you
you have
sprinting.
enough,
That's
Yeah,
if
so
your
you-
CO2 goes up. Yeah.
If you like, I know what you're
Yeah,
saying
you
because
s-
I figured that out as well. That if you fill your CO2 button, it starts taking your health away.
Hmm.
You won't die from it, and that's great. unless a random
Yes.
alien attacks you from the side, and then you
Yeah.
die because you've got no health. But yeah, no, it's still a pain in the ass because obviously the screen goes pretty much almost black, and you can't sprint anymore
Yeah.
while you're in your CO2
You can
phase.
sprint, but it
It's
cancels. It
it
keeps
cancels super
cancelling out.
quick. Yeah. It's like you can
Mm.
sprint for like 5 feet, and then you have to stop and do it again.
And then also when you're on different planets, like if you're on a 0G planet or like
Mhm.
there's low gravity, the mass that you're some like your over encumbrance works more or
Yeah.
it works less sometimes.
Yeah, depending on how the
But
gravity works.
I've experienced that when it comes to the outpost system. But I mean, I can talk about that and why I don't like that system in the game. It's so like after even though the Fallout 4 one was fairly decent with where you could build stuff, there's just there's so many like I'd say bugs and the way it's designed is really frustrating, especially the cargo link system as well.
Mhm.
Because sometimes, for example, I set up 3 cargo links on a system, right? And they either don't show up on the other cargo link if it's not connected. Even if it's not connected, they don't show up if it's in the same system, because what it doesn't tell you is there's a regular cargo link which is an inner system one.
Yeah.
So say you're on Sol, which is our galaxy, and you're trying to get materials and stuff. Then there's the intersystem one, but sometimes you're in the same system, it doesn't show up. So I had to go round and delete all the cargo links, re-put them down, and every time I put one down, check to see if I could link. And then on top of that, you can only link one cargo link at a time, and you also can't filter what is being sent to specific. Say if you want to have like a home base, right?
Mhm.
You can't filter specific things to where you want them to go. So if you have iron and aluminium all coming into the same place, it's just the storage that you put down is just iron and aluminium. It doesn't. You can't go. All right, I want to put my iron there, aluminium there, and then it adds on top of that when it doesn't work as well. It doesn't like it connect itself as well, and yeah, like at some point like it's good to get the resources to be able to help like build certain things and that, but it's completely bypassed if you just go to a vendor on a planet because you get so much credits. You can buy the things that you need, so it makes it completely irrelevant at times, which it's a good system in thought and practice, but I just feel it's very poorly designed and they need to make it work. And I feel like either modders will do something with it, or like they'll update it. Like for example, you put a storage down and you only have 125 right per storage, but the cargo link has 600. So when you're putting down 3 times the amount of things for your storage when you can just link it to your cargo link straight away, but sometimes you don't want to, like, and it's and then for example another thing to do, I really hate cargo links in this.
That's fine.
Okay,
Go.
I'm going to make that apparent. Right?
I've had the same
If
I'm
thing.
getting the
you want
feeling,
to
yeah.
send, if you want to send everything to one place, what you would have to do is set up an outpost wherever you want it. Say you want to send like iron, aluminium, copper, right? And then you need to send those. You need to put one on each, one cargo link on each. Then make a completely separate outpost. Either it could be for an inner system one or a regular one, and then create 6 cargo links to have one, like 3 that are coming in, and then have those connected to the either 1 or 2 to send them to your home base if you then want to separate them individually. So say you go to your home base and you have 2 cargo links that you want to get working to send iron and aluminium, you have to use 2 instead of just having 1, which then filters into the filtering system, which I think really is needed. And it's just, it's so aggravating. And then after I'd spent my time and I'd made some content on it, I left it alone. I was like, nah, I'm done with it. I'm not spending any more time with it because it's just super aggravating.
Yeah,
but
I've barely touched it myself. I had to play around with it just to try and figure out the basic premise of it all. But like you said, like there's been zero need for me to do it. Maybe in these like later runs that I'm doing because again, slight spoiler for New Game Plus, but it's a New Game Plus, so it makes sense. All of the research that you get it basically carries on. So all the research that you've already done in your first run through will be there in your second. So you can just keep building up on your research. So as I'm getting into like higher level research, maybe then I'll start needing those outposts. But for the first couple of
the rare
runs,
materials and stuff.
yeah. For these first couple of runs, I don't think I'm going to need it anytime soon. But,
So
yeah.
a lot of the things that I've been doing have been exploring outposts and exploring shipbuilding. When the game was coming out, I really wanted the early access, which I unfortunately didn't get in the end. But I wanted that so I could explore how to build ships and then make some videos about them and have some fun with it. So I felt I should start an outpost so I could start looking for resources and things. Mainly, I started an outpost because I wanted to store stuff because we were always over encumbered, and I didn't want to just go and sell things away. I felt like I was taking all the credits out of the main like cities and things because I was selling everything all the time. So trying to store things was going to be important so I could start building things. And then I wanted to then build the main space like landing pad for the outpost. So because then that comes with a computer that you can access a majority of the blueprints for your spaceships. So eventually got onto building spaceships, but that just, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like it works properly. It works in the sense you can build, a spaceship that works to get you from A to B, but you can't rotate things to get a set way, to make it look a set way. So, if you want a classic spaceship that has a nice pointy top to it, you can't do that because it has to be
you can't angle
way.
it. You have to they give you the predetermined stuff, so you have to kind of make do with what there is.
It's like Lego rather than like
keen on building. I was really keen on building Ahsoka's ship from you looking at the new series. I thought that'd be a really good challenge to see how to do it, but practically impossible in this in Starfield because you can't angle the parts in the way that would help build that ship. And I think that was the first stumbling block for me. First of all, trying to build the outpost to get enough resources, then build this spaceport. And then getting, now I can start building spaceships. But then finding out, no, I can't because I can't put it that way. It has to be that way for particular parts and certain components of spaceship building.
I spent so long trying to build the Serenity from Firefly.
I wanted to build that too.
And
you had a decent attempt. That's what I saw. I think you posted. Did you post it? I think you posted it on Twitter, right?
Yeah, an attempt was made. It was basically Serenity from
good.
Wish. No, the lighting was very good. The ship itself. Let's just say I don't use that ship, but I own it. But it's fine. I agree. Like, I think I understand what they're doing. They're making it as like barrier to entry into building a ship as low as possible because it is very much just like Lego. It tells you when you've got something wrong. But yeah, it takes away a little bit of the fun from it, which hopefully they'll expand on and you can start doing more things with as the game progresses and you get like new worlds with new like ship companies. Maybe we'll start seeing them kind of expand on that kind of stuff.
The other thing with the shipbuilding, the thing that is the most frustrating is to play into Matty's point. Whenever you make the landing pad, you can't say I understand if you had more than if you only had one ship, right? Because you need a ship for the game to work, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you have two ships, you can't save what it currently looks like, right? With it having all the flight check problems, and then go to a different manufacturer to then continue. But no, you have to build some weird jank version with what you have, which costs you more credits, to then go to another starport, and you're bouncing around, but you can never really experience all of the parts. Right? If you could save that blueprint of what you have, and then you use your main ship, like say the Frontier that you get, that you get to use straight away. If you have, if you go and rob a ship like how Jakey did, you can use that as the template, and you can use it for whatever you want. And yeah, that's another thing. And then also with the outpost system as well, with what Matty said, sometimes the ship doesn't even land on the spaceship.
Yeah.
The thing
So
that you put down.
that's a bug.
So-
I've seen that myself. If you just kind of like warp away and back again, it turns up. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's more of a display bug than anything else. But yeah, anyway, that's like, I think that's enough on the negative stuff. I want to talk about some of the positive stuff, which is for me, and I think the most positive thing about this game is the quest lines. Like, I think the way that they have built out the quest system in this game is some of the most fun I've had in an RPG. And that's like things like The Witcher and, you know, 8 previous Bethesda games. I think not only is the writing fantastic, I think the way that the character models and the voice acting is done is brilliant. But the way that the most seemingly innocuous storyline lead into this massive epic affair. Before we get into it, and I don't want, just because again I don't want to spoil anything for anyone. Did everyone here do the Vanguard mission?
UC Vanguard.
Yes.
UC Vanguard quest.
Yes.
Yes.
How far
Yes.
are we talking through it?
Like, I've
just in
completed
case
it.
the others- Oh, I've completed it. I don't know
Yeah.
if anyone else has.
Yeah, I've done the UC Vanguard quest line.
Yeah, I've done it too.
Okay, so
Can
perfect.
I ask then?
Yes.
How did everybody get to that mission?
Which one are we talking about? Are we talking about the one with the UC Vanguard or the SysDef one? Because they're two different things.
When you go undercover for UC.
That's SysDef.
Oh, okay.
Oh, is that
So
sister?
I
yeah.
I
Sorry,
did
I'm thinking the wrong thing.
the other UC
yeah.
quest line.
I've done both,
before,
obviously. Yeah.
Because there's 2 ways I think to get to it. Maybe I don't know whether you got it to it the way that I think you got to it, Matty, because of what you posted on TikTok. Did you get, for some strange reason, unbeknownst to us, did you get put in a jail ship by any chance at all?
Yeah, I did. I accidentally pickpocketed a bounty hunter that was sent to kill me, persuaded him otherwise, and then as he snuck away, I was like, "Oh, can you pocket him?" And then pressed the wrong button, and then everyone was like, "Who's stealing?" and then I got arrested.
Yeah. So
okay,
that one.
It was a good way to do it.
Yeah, again, just for anyone listening or watching, spoilers, we are getting into spoiler territory now for a little bit, but it is going to be like side quest stuff. But
Yeah.
I do suggest, like, again, I think for the rest of the episode, we're going to get spoiler-terrific. So, yeah.
Spoilers.
I would recommend, if you've not done any of the main quests that we talk about going forward, maybe pause this and come back to it after you've done them, because they're definitely worth going in blind.
The faction ones are, the factions.
Yeah,
are really
the main
good.
faction ones are definitely worth like not knowing about them beforehand. So we will be talking about them in full. But yeah, so we'll talk about the SysDef one, which again we can talk about. It is the Crimson Fleet storyline as well.
Yeah.
I
have
haven't
you
actually
not?
done that one.
Oh,
I've done
okay.
the other
I've been
UC
given the
Vanguard.
job, but I haven't done it. I've done the other one.
Okay.
Which is
So you-
I did the
So
other one as well.
so have you all been arrested? Should we say?
Oh, I wasn't
No, I've
arrested,
not
I was
gone
Okay.
undercover yet.
All right. Okay.
So I got it. So when in the regular UC Vanguard quest line, you do the first like 2 missions or like a mission and a half,
yeah.
and then it gives you 2 options, like 2 pathways. So it says you can go to the UC Vigilant, I think it is, which is
The
the main
Vigilance,
like
yeah,
the
yeah.
ship that you can go to, or you can continue on with the other quest line, which is what
Okay.
I went to go and
Go to
do.
the outpost, which is what we did.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I did mine a different way. So I got caught hacking into a computer, which is how I got arrested.
You naughty boys.
Yeah, I'm a naughty boy. So I got caught hacking into a computer. Whoops. Which then triggered just a guard running up and arresting me. And that when I said, like, I did have the option to fight out of it, but I was like, you know what, I'm gonna see where this goes. And that's where it lent into the SysDef mission. I think the Vanguard mission, which I think is the one we've all done, is probably my favorite, like going from innocuous small mission into a massive world-changing end story. So again, full spoilers going ahead. The way it's obviously the Terramorph mission. So the way that it goes from you're just gonna go fix like a comms relay that's broken. That's gonna be your first mission as a trainee Vanguard. So you're like, all right, I'll fly out, fix that. Turns out the comms relay is on a base that has been destroyed by a terramorph. And you've got to figure out why there's a terramorph on this planet, which there never should be. And the way that you go through like multiple planets, doing multiple stories, fighting tons of people, there's like a whole level of espionage. We're talking about that again. I'm going to keep saying spoilers. I don't need to. I know. But did you tell her that her dad was alive?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like, there's
No,
did.
I didn't.
you didn't tell her. So okay,
Never told her.
the way I did it, at least to kind of keep it at least a little bit light spoilery, was I told her, and then I basically lied all the way till the end.
Okay.
Because if you do lie all the way to the end,
did.
quite funnily, that I lied in like the most goody two shoes type of mission. It was like, we're the
It's a
UC
bright light.
Vanguard, like the big protectors of the galaxy. Because the one of the main key points of the story, in that specific side quest, he will give you more missions afterwards.
Yeah.
To go and do and get extra XP and stuff like that, and some rewards. So you know me, I like to get myself a bunch of extra loot. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, yeah, I'll do that then.
Yeah, it basically turns you into a bounty hunter, which is
Yeah.
awesome. But yeah, no, I 100% lied all the way through. I got all those like the extra missions and stuff. Never told her. She's like, to this day, does not know her dad is alive. Yeah.
You're a horrible person, man.
I mean, am I? He's a bit of a dick. I wouldn't want him as my dad.
Yeah, to be fair.
And she's off living her best life as like one of the prized scientists of the UC Vanguard. She's a happy little bunny.
Right.
What quests have you done, Matt and Jake? Like what?
Yeah, I think it's a really good question.
What's the furthest that you've gone? Because I know you're at both. Because me and Paul are at different like farther points into stuff.
Yeah.
But is there anything specific to you, the quest that stood out, that isn't like main story, just the side quest, that maybe isn't the UC Vanguard, something else that you just kind of stumbled upon?
The Paradiso level was interesting. That was a little bit annoying, but that was a decision maker. I was like, what do I do? Because I heard of like one alternative route which I didn't take. So you can either save the people that are in space, which I did, and now they're working their debt off. But the other
okay. You sold them into slavery. Okay.
There's a couple of ways out of that.
The other way was to make them go, and that was pretty much it. You get a free penthouse for life, apparently.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was an interesting mission. It's like, oh god, moral dilemmas on that front, because you've got like this planet that they're expecting to come and live on, and you've then got to be this mitigating middleman between the ship and the planet, and then you're like, oh, if you do this for us, you'll get this, and oh, if you do this for us, you get this. It's like, what do I want to do?
Yeah.
So
Was
that
there,
mission,
I was gonna say, did everyone else do that? Did you do that, Matty, as well?
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
did
What choice did
Okay,
you
so what
take?
choice did you make?
pick?
I ended up paying for their parts.
oh, you paid for
Oh,
that
man.
parts?
Yeah.
My
I
man.
was like I
Same.
say, I was raking it in. I was raking it in.
Well, I was
you know,
rich,
with
yeah.
all these resources. Yeah. So I was
Did
just
you
like, yeah, I'll see
did
where
you
this goes.
persuade him? Did you persuade the guy that you're buying it off?
Yeah. To give me a
Yeah, and you got
cheaper,
it
yeah,
down
definitely.
from like 40,000. He's like to like 25,000. I think it is. It
Something
drops
like
down
that,
to. So I was
yeah.
like, yeah.
So I'm doing this first playthrough as a character that is nice and makes nice decisions, but is also a bit of an empath. Can kind of use that to persuade people. And then I want to do another playthrough where I'm just a vile dick.
Yeah.
Are you
So
gonna call him? Are you just gonna call him Richard? Right.
Yeah.
Hey,
Dirty
Richard.
Richard. Yeah.
so I've been playing my character in a similar way. So my character's been very much a cocky smart ass, but he's always out to help unless you're a dickhead. So there was, and again, this is we haven't really touched on it, but these are like those magical moments in Starfield that happen. That I've talked about it on Twitter before, not X, it's Twitter. There was a moment where I was just surveying a planet, walking around, and a ship landed near me. So I walked over to the ship to go say, hi, how are you doing? What's going on? Hi. Went up to the captain, talked to him, and he was a bit of a dickhead to me. So he's just very rude, like, hello, what do you want? I was like, well, apparently right now I want your ship. So I snuck onto his ship while all of the crew were off, and just flew off with his ship. Left him stranded on the planet.
Nice.
So yeah, so
Little
that's
tip
getting.
for anyone in the future: don't be a dick to pull despawn.
All right, we'll steal your spaceship.
I think that's the biggest positive I can say about the game. It's because I've been thinking about this quite a lot. 'Cause I've been writing up a video for it, but the
Where can people
way
find that video?
on my socials down here, and it's Jimbo. It's Jimbo on YouTube. Because I'm obviously just coming off the back of playing Baldur's Gate, and it gets all the comparisons thrown towards it, and the way that game, Baldur's Gate specifically, throws player autonomy and gives the player handcrafted areas to be able to do things and results happen. Right, Starfield, or way Bethesda does it, it's completely different, but it still gives you endless possibilities of things that you want to, even though some of the things are predetermined, like you have like 3 choices that you can go with.
Yeah.
You can do anything that you feel like you need to do, and it's rather than being okay, here's the handcrafted stuff that you have to like figure out what you want to do in this specific play space. It's Bethesda's just gone, here's the whole play space, and here's some things that you can find here. Like I'm sure we've all done it. We're just walking around minding our business, and then all you hear is, I don't know, there's something about this on this planet, and you're like, oh, what was that? Excuse me. And then it's
Mission
just
pop up.
activities. It pops up on the side.
Yeah.
And like I fell onto the Ryujin Industries quest. I was like, what's this terminal? Let me go and see what this terminal is.
Yeah, I haven't done that quest at all yet.
It's a job interview. Okay, let's do this job interview and see where it goes. And then I get a pop-up saying, go to this plan. I'm like, okay. And my a friend of mine says it's really like it's really triggered his like procrastination bug, because he's just like, okay, I'm gonna do this, but what's that over there? Well, I'm gonna do this. Oh, what about that over there? And it's just such a great like big positive to talk about the game. Is what I think I love about the most.
I've found exactly the same. I've been trying to, take on a mission and then stick to that one quest line, which I know is really hard. So I've not done any of the constellation stuff really, apart from the first 4 missions.
Okay.
And then I've got distracted because I wanted to explore, I wanted to build a base, I wanted to build a spaceship. And then when I realized that, base building and spaceship building wasn't as cracked up as I wanted it to be, it might be for other people, then I've gone down and done the SysDef, I've done the Crimson Fleet, I've done the Paradiso mission, and the one, it was on Mars that you were saying about, Jimbo, the job interview.
Oh no, there's two ones. There's one where
okay.
are you on about the one where you speak to the mining guy?
Yeah. You gotta become.
And he's like, okay, go and mine this, and
assistant.
like you got to go and put in like a job interview there. But no, if you're just walking around New Atlantis, there's a Ryujin Industries terminal, like the bounty board type thing that you can just go up to.
Yeah.
And it asks you a bunch of like question stuff, and you can essentially just lie and say you have like a doctorate in mathematics and all this stuff. And then it's just like, attend interview with such and such, Ryujin Industries. And that's how I also got introduced to, no, it wasn't. That was via the Freestar Collective. That's how I got over to doing the faction quest, got to go and see Neon for the first time because of the faction quests.
So that Mars mission is the mission that got me arrested for the SysDef. Because as part of that mission, you have to hack into the computer and delete all of the other applicants.
Right. Okay.
For the job, and it's that I got caught doing, which got me arrested. So I managed to delete them, but I got caught leaving the office.
That was a hard one, wasn't it? Because she was sat at the terminal.
Yeah, and you have to wait until like after 5 o'clock, so they went off for a happy hour.
Oh, okay. You guys did it that way.
Yeah, I just sat on a bench and just waited until after 5 p.m. until they all wandered off to get drunk.
I did it a different way because I went and did. How many people here have done the Mantis quest?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Have you done that? So I did it after I got the Mantis suit with Chameleon, and I just sat there, waited until I was invisible, and just waited for the little hidden if you have the stealth. And I went, okay, I'm just gonna wait here, and then it went hidden, click it instantly, and then I was in, and like that way they don't detect you. But yeah, So that's
Yeah.
how I got into that specific situation.
Yeah, I think that's another
yeah.
example of like these little crafted elements. Like you talk about the Mantis mission, just these little crafted moments that
Mm.
you could completely miss that. Like,
you could.
Yeah, yeah.
because that mission is triggered by a slate in a random spacer's pocket.
Mhm.
Like,
And if you
that,
don't read
yeah, if you just
it,
don't read it, you don't. Yeah, you need to read it to get the message. But if you're just like picking up trash and just dumping them whenever you want, whenever you go to a shop,
No.
you could completely miss that mission. But it gives
Mm.
you like one of the best suits and ships in the game. And I think the thing I love about that mission the most is when you are flying through space in that ship and you come up against spacers
Yeah,
and they run for their hills.
that's brilliant.
I love it.
Nice little touch.
I've had a an interaction with so I've been flying the what's it called? Not
The Razor Leaf.
The
leaf, the
Razor Leaf,
Razor
is it?
Leaf, not
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
Razor
yeah.
Crest, the Razor
Razor
Leaf.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd had an interaction where I'd fought off some of the other enemies and things, and then the ship that I saved was like, "Oh, you're the Mantis!
Yeah,
Oh my
Yeah.
god!"
Yeah, they
What
can-
did you do then? Did you go, oh no, I don't need it, or you just like, I wouldn't mind some credits?
No, I
yeah,
just I played it cool, and then I think the guy, one of the other crewmates, was just like, "It's the Mantis. That's what he does. He doesn't need rewarding."
Mhm. Yep.
So yeah,
have-
little
I've heard
tidbits
loads
like
of
that. That's
stories like
amazing.
that. I've heard so many different stories.
Did we all
And
go to
I think that's
Grandma?
the beauty of it. What's that?
Did you all go hang out with
Oh,
Grandma?
I haven't met Grandma yet.
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't even know
Grandma
where
gave me
she
food.
is.
Grandma gave me food.
Yeah,
I don't
Grandma
even know where
just-
she is.
No, me neither. I don't know where I bumped
Turns
into her, but I definitely bumped into her. Just
Turns
I was
up.
like, is this gonna be some weird ass mission that goes off on a weird tangent? It's like, no, you just go for a meal and drinks. Just
Give
to
me a meal.
just keep her company
Fair.
for 10 minutes and then be on your way. And again, it's those, like I said, this is what I love about Starfield the most. Is it's these little tiny crafted moments that they put in the game, which you could completely miss, but they make the world feel so alive.
Yeah.
That is, I think
yeah.
that's what makes it feel so magical. Question: what traits did you pick at the beginning?
Oh, traits.
Mm-hmm.
So that was.
I know the two that I picked because
Yeah, I know.
you don't
Raid.
have to take them, but
No.
I took two. I took Tactician,
Mm-hmm.
which is the one when you're on your ship. It costs more to hire people for your ship, but they repair your ship like 50% faster. I think it is.
Yeah.
And then I took Empath as well because just because it helps with dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some other stuff that helps with dialogue as well. I know that.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know what one else. But
I went with, so I can't remember what I went for my base stuff, but I remember for my two traits that I took, I went with kid stuff and terra firma, which makes you like does more damage on ground but less damage in space.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't drink soft drinks on a podcast, kids. Just saying. But yeah, but I got rid of that. So I found that like after a while, I was hitting a lot of space missions where I had to do like fights in space. So you can, with that one, you can get rid of all of your traits at some point. So with the kid stuff one, you could just tell your parents you don't want to send them money anymore. But you'll be happy to know that I didn't. I still am paying my parents' way. They're enjoying their retirement. They're very happy. But the other one was the terra firma when you can just go to any medical place and they'll cure it for you, for like 1,000 credits.
yeah, that's pretty neat. Can you gain any?
Not that I've
Like-
seen. I think it's only
Right,
removing
okay.
the ones you've got.
Okay.
Did anybody choose
Yeah,
a Doring fan? Is what I want to know.
No, I didn't.
No.
No, I
Mm.
didn't.
It's very boring. I went down the Empath route as well.
Okay.
Maybe in a future playthrough, because
Mm.
like I'll probably come back to the game in about a year and a half time. If I have time, I'll come back
Yeah.
because already at 90 hours, I feel like I don't have enough time. Like I haven't completed half the stuff that I still need to complete. So I'll be doing that after this. I'll be jumping into more of it. And yeah, I suppose the best thing that like one thing that we haven't talked about, which I want to pose it to everybody, is
Right.
what's everyone's opinion on combat? Because quick opinion from me, I think the gunplay and the actual combat is the best Bethesda's ever done. because
Yep.
I can remember what Fallout 4 and
Yeah.
3 were like. But I'll pass that on to you guys and what you guys think.
No, I
think
agree.
it's probably the best gunplay they've ever had in one of their games. It's so
Yep.
smooth. It's so
Yep.
easy to do, and the range of weapons you have as well to play with is great. So I'm currently rocking. I've got a maelstrom that's got white hot bullets, so it causes them to catch fire, and it's scoped, so I can snipe from a distance as well. And then we've got the mag pulse guns, which are lethal. You have one of those
Mm.
back in them. I've also got a micro gun. I got given a mini gun. And I was
Mhm.
like, this is what I've been waiting for a while. So I've got that. And then I've not been using pistols, which is daft because I picked combat medic and I've got pistol bonuses, but I never use
Yeah.
a pistol these days.
Oh, I love my pistols.
But I love my rifles. My rifles are
Yeah.
pretty much what I use pretty much all the time. I found a really good shotgun too, which is, but they all feel weighty. They all feel good. Like you get a feel for actually having the weapon in your hands when you're firing it, and the recoil and stuff like this. It's really well done. They've done an amazing job.
Ammo as well. There's just so much
Plentiful.
ammo compared to like, and I thought that was going to be an issue. I was like, are we going to have like the Bethesda like Fallout style where you're kind of like saving shots?
Mhm.
But like, no, I've got like 2,000 bullets in my my laser rifle. I'm like, cool, I can just fire away. I'm trying to see. I don't know if there is one. I'm trying to see if there's like a laser minigun, or like
Ooh.
I've
maybe
not
it's
come
kind of like
across one.
the.
Don't
It
think
might
so.
be like the. But the other thing that I found out, this is completely thing is, the game scales one loot and two the things that like the amount of levels as you go up, like for the damage of certain loot. So like if I pick up a despondent assassin, which is like the old hunting rifle at
Yeah.
say level 15, but Matty picked it up at level 30, would have different stats on it because it scales with it. And
Mhm.
apparently when you go to like a level 70 to plus areas in the game, they have some ridiculous loot as well, because the loot scales with them.
Yeah,
So you may only be level 30 and you're killing them, but you may get some crazy loot from them as well,
That's good.
which is really cool.
Yeah, no, I think just to following back what you guys have said there, that the combat, like, yeah, definitely feels not just like some of the best for like Bethesda, like it genuinely feels like some of the best combat I've played in a game this year. I like, I love the gunplay. I think the ship combat is really cleverly done.
We need
Uh,
to
Yeah.
learn that.
when obviously when we first saw ship combat and we saw that big menu at the bottom controlling all of your different like sections of your ship, I was like,
Mm.
oh god, how convoluted is this gonna be? But the
Yeah.
fact that
Yeah.
it's just all quickly controlled by the D-pad, you
Yeah.
if you unlock your abilities in ships combat, you can like use basically what is the VAT system for ship combat,
Yep.
which is really clever. And the way that you can balance different weapon types as well, I think is really good. But yeah, no, I think this is like some of the best combat that Bethesda have ever done. And yeah, I
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Definitely, I'd agree.
the new engine. Like, so this, I think this is the first game in Creation Engine 2, if I'm not mistaken.
It might be an upgraded Fallout 4 engine.
Okay.
I'm not sure because I know Fallout 4 was like the next step in the creation engine.
Right.
Which to talk about the actual creation engine, the thing that I suppose it comes back to that Bethesda jank with the creation engine. They've spent so much time making the game in the engine, which is I can understand why they want to stick to it.
Yeah.
For all of the jank that happens in the game, like NPCs floating through the floor or like falling through the floor, that like, or you load into a zone and Sam Coe is flash running into the wall and
How
you're
about
like,
that,
what
yeah.
are you doing? Right?
Just getting his steps in, it's fine.
The crazy thing is that with the people complain about the loading screens is when you go through into a loading area, everything in that area is pick up, like you can pick it up and interact with it. It has its own physics. I've seen I'm sure we've probably all seen the milk carton thing where they zero G'd in space and spawned in like 10,000 milk cartons. And then they've put like 20,000 potatoes inside a ship and they've all got physics. And the game, yeah, it does drop in frames a little bit, but I can understand because every single item in there has physics. And
Not only
that's
does it
what's
have
so cool
physics,
about it.
it has persistence. So there has been moments
Yes.
where I've left an item on a floor somewhere. 'Cause again, encumbrance, I have to drop items all the time.
Yeah.
I've left an item somewhere. I've gone off on a mission. I've come back to the lodge, and it's still just sat there on the floor.
Yep.
And so the game
And
remembers that kind of stuff. And the fact that everyone we mentioned obviously the loading times and stuff like that. I've had no issues with loading times. Like,
are you playing on PC?
yeah, so I'm playing the
Yeah.
Game Pass PC version,
Okay, yeah,
and the way that you can I have had a mission that's like 10 star systems away. I'll use the quick button from the menu to go straight to set course, go straight to the planet, lock on, drop there.
Mm.
10, 20 seconds, I'm on that planet. I'm walking
Yeah.
around on it. And the fact that you can
and most
like
of
I said-
that, most of that is navigating the menu.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
doesn't take that long at all. And I thought that was going to be like a problem when the
Yeah, I
game
thought it would be
launched.
like minutes sitting in a menu waiting for a world to load. But no.
Yeah.
And some people, I know I'm kind of taking the conversation here, but there's some people that I've seen complaints online talking about how tedious it can be to go to your ship, land, or like take off, and you get the cutscene, and there's a cutscene. Yeah. You can bypass all of that. If you you can go from Neon to New Atlantis if you don't pick the spaceport and you pick like the commercial district or something like that.
Yep.
And you get like a 3 or 4 second loading screen. You're there ready. I don't know what the loading times are like on Xbox, because at least for PC with my rig, it's like maybe 3 to 4 seconds, if 5 at the most, which I don't really think that's a problem, if I'm being honest. And that's only with the fast traveling. When I'm going inside a building, it's like 2 seconds at the most. Yeah. So, I don't really have that much of an issue with it.
I will say that I did try it on Xbox One using the cloud play. Pretty much similar experience throughout as well. Like, it's a little bit slower, but not by much. So yeah, like, I think they've done a really good job in mitigating the loading times. Like, it's still a Bethesda game. Like, every door is a loading screen. That's kind of expected from what Bethesda do. Like, it's not a massive open world, like, one instance. It is definitely loading different areas, but I think they've managed to do it really well. And yeah, like, I've not got too many complaints in that area myself.
Yeah, like I said before, loading screens I think were one of the big things for me at the beginning. But when you start playing the game and you appreciate how much is in each level and how much is going on, that it's like, okay, that's okay. And when you talk about loading screen, you're talking about, I don't know, 5 seconds. Sometimes it's instant, sometimes it's not. And that's okay. There's lots of people obviously who hate on the game, who are just like, oh, but there's loading screens, etc. It's like, okay, but think about pick your fight. Think how big this game is. Think how much there is to do. We're all saying we've played it, and there's missions that some of us have found that others haven't found, and everyone's going to have their own different stories from playing this and saying what they are looking forward to doing in their next playthrough. Each console's got its own exclusives. This just happens to be Xbox's.
I 100% agree with that. What were you going to say, Jake?
I was going to say, so I take it, what are you all playing on? Because I guess, Paul, you're on PC. Jimbo, you're on PC.
I'm on Steam.
You're on
Steam.
So
mine's different because the modding, if you want to mod, so I've put mods into the game. The only thing I've modded into the game, which was literally the day of launch on the early access, someone made a mod for DLSS. So I did it so the frame rate was smoother. They're adding that to the game anyway. And then there's just so much other stuff that you can put in. So I just like it because it's easier to put mods into the PC version on there than trying to put mods into the Xbox Game Pass version on the PC. That's what, at least from personal experience.
From what I understand, it's almost impossible at the moment. Like, Xbox, like, Microsoft locked down the Game Pass version of their games so much. Like, you might be able to do it, but it is not easy. So yeah, if you are wanting a mod, go Steam, or just wait till next year for the Creation Club to drop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Matt, what are you playing on?
Say again, sorry?
What are you playing on? Series S or Series X?
X.
You're on X. Because I play on my X when I'm in this room, and I play on my S when I'm in my living room. Now, it's been interesting because I've been seeing a bit of difference between the two. Now, I was going to ask you about comparisons, but obviously we're all playing on, a similar Xbox, or you guys are on PC. But I find that if I do a long session on my X, the game seems to be perfectly fine. If I'm playing on my S, I start to get issues of the game crashing a hell of a lot. Now, I was just wondering, anyone's
Ooh.
had that, but obviously we're a bit different because none of us here have got an S, so I can't really talk and compare with that. But
I have had a
Yeah.
couple of
Amazing.
crashes.
Yeah,
Yeah, not
So-
not a massive amount, and again, I will say that the game is really good with its autosave function.
yeah,
Oh,
So I never
I
feel
was-
like I'm losing too much.
I was saved by auto save function, hence the name. I got stuck getting the mantis lair. I decided to bypass a robot dog, and it chased me, and it killed me as I got into an elevator. But at the same time, I'd
Oh.
also pressed a button, and so the elevator obviously went up, loading screen. Elevator doors opened, then they closed, loading screen. Elevator doors opened.
Oh,
There's just my body lying on the
no.
floor.
Oh,
Elevator doors
no.
closed, loading screen, elevator doors open, still body lying on the floor. So I had to go back.
Bounce back.
You didn't have the leg sticking out, so it was like hitting the leg, and then the leg would go up and then come back down. Yeah, it's like
It's
it wouldn't
just-
close.
I think it literally, I pressed the button as it got the final hit on me, and then that was it.
that's just how it is.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
my
Thank goodness for auto save.
like I say, my favorite little like bug that I've had, like I've not had anything game breaking. The only one I had, which again was just saved by reloading a save point, was there was a mission. I can't remember which mission it was. I think it was one of the Vanguard missions, where you have to talk to one of the people in the Vanguard building in one of the upper offices.
Yeah,
And as I got out of the lift, I just noticed the little blue marker for where I'm supposed to go just start slowly going down. And as I turn around the corner to see it, I just see their head just disappear off the floor. I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
So
okay. I guess I'll
I've
take the lift
seen
down
a
to the
few
floor
friends-
below.
I've seen a few people have that issue. I mean, before we even recorded, unfortunately, I had an issue with the Ryujin quest. So when we talk about like game breaking, I've also seen some other people have other issues. Basically, when I complete the steps of the quest, you have to go and meet someone to
Yeah.
give them like their a story to leak it to the press or whatever. And it's on New Atlantis, but it puts it in the ocean, the marker,
yeah, it
Okay.
does,
not
yeah.
where they're supposed to be.
Yeah,
So first thing I tried, reload the save, see if it fixed it. Nope. Tried going back to a previous save, like way before, like two missions, like a mission and a half back. So basically, I knew how to speed run the mission
Yeah.
to get through it, and then got all the way through it. Still didn't fix it. And then I even went into the console commands and did TLC, which is where you can turn collision off. And I ran under the map to see if I could find where the NPC was, and he was just gone. So I won't be able to complete the Ryujin Industries storyline, which is a
Until they
real
patch it.
frustrating thing
Yeah.
until they patch it. So hopefully it doesn't happen with the Crimson Fleet mission or anything along those lines. That's the only bug. I've seen a couple people that have also had ones with the Star Eagle, with the Freestar Collective, like it not dropping for them when they're getting stuck on missions. And it's stuff like that which kind of like it kind of adds up over time with certain things. But
So,
people floating through the wall, or NPCs just being ahead on the ground walking around, it to me, has anyone had the I suppose naked NPCs
no, not
where
yet.
their
No.
clothes have just despawned and
No.
they're just walking around
Hello?
in their pants?
That's a mod that you've downloaded, dude.
Yeah,
No,
that's a mod. That's a mod.
Okay. So
Okay.
got
if you-
red-handed.
if you've been to Mars, right? If you've been to Sidonia, right?
Mm-hmm.
As you're about to walk out, there's like the gray things that you can walk through, the like what you'd have like a butcher shop, or like that's how the gray flaps, whatever they're called,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And you would
Yeah.
go out, and then all of a sudden, this guy turns around, runs towards me, and I'm like, surely you should have a spacesuit on. No, he's got a laser rifle in his hand and he's in his boxers, and I'm like, okay. And I just walk off and continue on with my day, and it's just kind of funny out of nowhere that happens.
Yeah, I think the only
yeah.
mission breaking thing I've had, and it's just a side quest mission, is we mentioned the what is the Paradiso mission.
yeah.
So again, we talked about it.
Mm.
I gave them the ship parts, I bought them for them and sent them on the way. You get extra missions from them later on. And one of the parts of that mission is you deliver a letter and then come back to tell them that you delivered the letter. I come back to where it tells me they are, and their ship is nowhere to be found. so I
Mm.
can't complete that mission. So I'm hoping now that I'm on
Right.
New Game Plus, and if I get to that point, and I probably will pick the same thing again, because I'm not being a dickhead, that I'll be able to do that mission and carry it on. But I have looked online, and apparently a few people have had that issue, so we shall see.
But sorry, to play in Devil's Advocate, I haven't really had as many bugs as I've ever had, like compared to the other games. Like this has been relatively a bug-free experience for the most part. There's clipping happens, weird jank kind of happens here and there, but apart from that, no, not like the game's gonna be so buggy, it's awful. It's like, it's been relatively quite fun, to be honest. So yeah.
I do get some funny moments though. Like I've been having conversations with NPCs, or we're doing a conversation between me and my companion, and as the camera turns to them, you've just got this random NPC just.
Yes, I was having.
It was like, okay, just gonna stare at my face.
I had a really wonderful moment where I was having. So again, I don't know how far you are into the main story mission, Matty. But there is a character that you find later on called Andresia. Have you done a mission for her yet?
No.
Okay.
No, not yet.
She's basically another member of the Constellation team.
Yeah.
So she joined my team. I decided she was going to be the one I dated, and I was having this really heartfelt conversation with her about like how she's going to be the love of my life. And then while we were having that conversation, there was this basically a random guy I'd hired to be a member of my ship crew, who just kept walking behind her, staring intently at me with his like. He looked like Carrot Top, but I got him because he basically did a lot of it boosted my my wellness, so he gave me like extra health as being part of my crew. But yeah, it's just like this guy who looks like somebody's like awkward stepdad just kept walking behind her as we're declaring our love for each other, and it's just like.
Dude,
it makes me think of that. This is a really old callback, but there's Sean Austin, the one who plays Samwise Gamgee in Lord of the Rings, and he's like looking at that girl, and the guy comes up in front of him, and just goes like it's a really iconic gif, and that's just what it makes me think of, because I've had that same thing. Like instead of it being behind them, I've been talking to I think Sarah, and then Sam Coe's just been like, hello, like right here, and I'm like, I'm trying to talk to Sarah. What are you doing?
I did have a really dumb moment.
I've been enjoying putting buckets on people's heads in cutscenes. That's always a fun one.
Apparently, that works really well for stealing stuff. Just put a bucket on someone's head, they can't see you. But yeah, all in all, like
the old school.
Yeah, just to wrap this up, because we've been going for like over an hour now.
Yeah.
Final thoughts on the game from everyone. Like, again, I'll go around in a circle. Jake, what about yourself? Like, what are your final thoughts on Starfield? For anyone who's, I'd say to kind of quantify, like, what are your thoughts for anyone who's not yet jumped in, who is thinking about it?
Okay, so my final thoughts would be: give it a chance, give it a good number of hours, do some of the story missions to get yourself properly stuck into it, then do the side missions, and then you'll be off. You'll actually have a good foothold into getting involved in the universe and exploring it at your own leisure, or completing it and doing it again and again and again.
Matty, what about you?
Yeah, Jake's put that really well there, to be honest. Yeah. Don't be afraid to get lost in some of the side missions, because you can always come back to it at another point. And listen, enjoy the extra bits and tidbits that you hear, as Jimbo said earlier, as you walk around. Enjoy the little bits of conversation, enjoy the little extra bits that have been added in, because they're the things that make the game. You're going to remember the story mission, but the extra side bits are just as fun.
And again, go for you, Jimbo.
The best way to describe it, as I said at the top of the hour, is the game is fantastic, but a little bit flawed. But to play devil's advocate to what I'm saying is, the certain flawed aspects of the game are optional, right? You could spend the entire time just having the ships. You can even buy ships in the game and don't have to engage in that. You don't have to engage in the outpost system. to bring it into the actual game itself, immersive is one of the biggest things that I'll say. You just let yourself be immersed in the game. Don't look for, like, sometimes you'll find a reason to play the game, and it won't be, oh, I've got to do this because I've got to complete this by a certain date. It's like, no, just enjoy the game for what it is. Also, if you are apprehensive, pay for game. If you have an Xbox or a PC, which it's where it is, it's on Game Pass and on PC. You can pay a monthly fee for $10 or however much it is. Play the game for a month, cancel your subscription, and you've played Starfield for essentially $10, right? And that's it. You don't have to put in the full price to be able to play the game. You'll probably go on sale at some point on Steam or on Xbox. So it's worth giving a try, and especially with the deals that Microsoft does here and there, where they do like a $3 for like a month or something like that. It's one of those games that I'd say you don't want to miss out on. You don't want to. It's going to be like a Skyrim event. It's just going to be one of those games that sticks around forever. So just jump in and have fun with it.
Well said.
Kind of, yeah, echoing what all of you have said, like, this is a game that you just have to give yourself to the experience. There are so many option elements in this game that if they don't sit for you, there are at least another 5 or 6 that you just go off and do right there and then that you will enjoy. Be open to those experiences. Remember that every small activity can lead into a massive mission, and just enjoy the world that Bethesda have built in what, in my eyes, is the best world they've ever built. And I am so excited to see what they do in the months and years to come with this world. If we've seen what the kind of support that they give a game like Skyrim, I can't wait to see them even do like a 10th of that with what they've got with here with Starfield. I think they've got possibly one of like the best Xbox games ever released, in my eyes, which is a tall order, but I think they've got magic here, and I think if they improve on the elements that need fixing, and with the modding community and Creation Club next year, and just the studio themselves, I think they will do. I think this is an unmissable game. Like, if you've got the ability to play this game, you should 100% at least give it a go.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well said. Well said.
And on
then
that
we'll all be in a
note,
retirement home when Elder Scrolls comes out in like 6 years,
Probably.
7 years time.
I'll be on my 40th playthrough of New Game Plus. It'll be fine. But guys, that is going to be it for us today. I hope you've all enjoyed our Starfield talk. As always, you can find us all on the internet at these places that are on screen right now. And until next time, happy gaming.
Bye, everybody.